There we go. We are live. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Dr. Tony DeNeal with Chiro One with us today, a mastermind in business and developing students and chiropractors, new chiropractors, putting them into an incredible business model. You guys are breaking records and leading the way for incredible care for the health of the United States. I'm sure, you guys got so many people on your team. You got a bunch of practices all over. So thank you so much for taking the time out today and give us some of your time.
You got it. You're welcome, Dalton, and thank you for having me for sure.
Absolutely. Well, hey, I mean, we'd love to start out and understand. Look, if you just want to tell everybody what you guys are doing, give us a short little rundown. I know we're a little short on time today, but let's let everybody know what you guys are doing.
Oh, for sure. So, let's start of why we created Chiro One. There was two different things and two different reasons that we were looking at 20 years ago when we created Chiro One. So the first thing we wanted to look at was how does a student enter the marketplace? That was one thing. But the other thing is, what is the patient experience when they're entering the marketplace? When I mean by enter the marketplace, there's a difference between what happens in school and what happens in practice. Practice is the marketplace. So that's what I mean by, the marketplace. So the first thing we looked at when patients are looking at chiropractic, in their eyes, what they see is if I go to 10 different chiropractors, I'm gonna get 10 different ways of doing something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that can cause confusion in what chiropractic is. And so we wanted to have some type of way to educate the patient and not have any brand confusion around what chiropractic was in the marketplace. So that's why Chiro One was created. We said, okay, let's saturate our own market first, which is Illinois. Um, so we created 50 clinics here in Illinois. What that does is create some tipping point around what chiropractic is in the minds of patients. So if you went to any of the Chiro Ones, whenever a patient walk in, they will hear and see the same way of how the care is delivered in the marketplace. And in our world, we wanted to make sure that the adjustment was in the forefront of why you would come to a chiropractor, was to get adjusted to come to a chiropractor. So that way there's no confusion around any of the other things that we know that we can provide as chiropractors, right? Like you got
Right.
massage therapy in chiropractic offices, PT in chiropractic office, shockwave in chiropractic office. You have all of these other things that the patient will get confused in what's helping them get well. And we didn't want that brand confusion around what is actually helping them when it comes to going into a chiropractic office. So that was the first thing we wanted to do is create a tipping point in a way to educate patients of what chiropractic was, and that's why it's even in our name, Chiro One.
Right.
Um, so that way, when you go to a chiropractic, I know, okay, the adjustment is what's helping me. Yep, we got some of the other ancillary things that could be aiding what the adjustment does, but it's the adjustment that's helping me. So that was the first thing. The other thing was, what happens when you guys graduate school, right? We looked at the different ways that students graduate school, and the number one way was opening up a practice. You're talking about 20 years ago when we created this. Opening up a practice. Even now, 70% of practicing chiropractors own their own clinics.
Mm-hmm.
Um, being an associate in a solo practitioner's office, being an independent contractor in a solo practitioner's office, or renting space and building your own practice. That's what an independent contractor would be. And working in a group setting, right? So those were your main two ways that you would come out of school, right? And go into practice. Franchises wasn't that big. It wasn't around. I remember when the first joint came around 20 something years ago. I'm like, oh man, it
Yeah.
looked really cool. I love the concept of, it really was adjustment only. And you can get in and get out. And if you wanted to, you can actually buy into their system. So that's a franchise. But
Mm-hmm.
those it really was far few in between. And then when you think about a franchise, you think about a McDonald's franchise, you're actually buying into a system that was already created. So we looked at that and we said, okay, well, how does a medical doctor come out of school, right? So a medical doctor, when he comes out of school, he go and he'll work in the hospital system, do rounds and rotations at the hospital system as he's learning. And if he decides to specialize, then he's got to do a little bit more time at the hospital, maybe 2 to 3 more years at the hospital as he's
Right.
specializing. And then at that point, if that medical doctor decides, you know what, I actually want to open up my own private practice, that medical doctor actually go back and get their MBA so they can understand business
Mhm.
before they open up a practice. So you're talking about a 10-year span of learning before they even think about going and open up a practice, right? That doesn't happen in our world. We literally can graduate school the next day, go hang our shingle and start practicing, whether we know business or not, right? We
Mhm.
said, well, what happens with the student who don't want the other four options of opening up a practice, going and working a independent contractor's office as an independent contractor, an associate in a solo practitioner's office, or some other group of type of practice? What does that student have? And so we created Chiro One for that student. And what that provides a student is a way to come out and just be the doctor. Like literally come out, learn all the systems, procedures, and protocols of what it takes to be successful, a career path of going into a residency. So we have our own residency program. Once you're done with that residency program, you go into what is called the travel associate role, which is designed for you to get those rounds and rotation reps of what it feels like to actually do and practice chiropractic
Mhm.
before you are called to be a clinic director or associate clinic director in one of our clinics. So that's the path that we laid out for any student who want to come and learn first of what it's like to be in a very successful practice. Again, we got 150 of them.
Right.
Before they decide, hey, you know what? I've got all the tools to be able to go out. Now I can go out and really successfully open up a practice if that's what
Mhm.
they wanted to. Now, most of our doctors stay with us before, 9 years before they decide to go and open their own practice. And that's because we actually do everything for them, right? So we're providing the marketing, we're providing, the billing and all the stuff that you would need to have if you were to go open up your own practice anyway. We're taking care of that so that way you could focus on patient care and really learning how to build the practice from inside. So that's what we're doing, and that's what we've been up to for the past 20 years is really building practices. And most people think we're a franchise because when you're a multi-unit operator, most people put you in that category. Well, you're just a franchise. Nope, we own all of the clinics. So at this point, we own all of the clinics. There's 10 partners that own all of the clinics, and we did that for a reason. It helps us continue to have control over the quality of our systems, procedures, and protocols rather
Mhm.
than when you franchise out your systems, they can whoever franchise, they can really do what they want in that practice because they own the systems. They basically license your systems to go and do what they want. So that's what we've been up to, and
That's
it's been very
fascinating.
successful. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, you guys have been growing. You said 20 years, and you said there's 10 partners. How did
Mhm.
you get? Are these people that you had known from chiropractic school, or how did the whole venture start?
Good question. So when I got out of school in 2003, I did work as an associate in a practice with three of the founders. And at that point in time, it was not a Chiro One. So it was just a single practitioner office, right? But it was three guys who owned it. And I started working there with them. They were young and they were really doing all of these great things. And I'm like, this is the way I want to practice. I love it. It's family based, it's high volume. We're really taking care of people and just having a great time
Yeah,
practicing, the craft of chiropractic. And
right.
at that time, Dr. Sam Wang, who's one of our partners, he said, hey, we're thinking of doing 40 clinics. What you want to be down? And I said, yeah, I think that'll be a great idea. Now, again, I was an associate of his at that point in time. But he was at least giving me the idea what he wanted to do with creating
Yeah,
these 40 practices in Chicago. Well, I was running one of the clinics. I was a clinic director in one of the clinics, very successful clinic director. And one of my friends was running another practice. And at that point in time, I was talking to Sam and saying, hey, I want to open up some clinics downtown Chicago. I think we are missing a big market of
yeah.
downtown Chicago.
Hmm.
And at that point in time, he was like, I'm really not interested in downtown. I don't know nothing about downtown. I'm like, well, I understand it. And I think we could. And at that point, he just wasn't interested. They were working on kind of building up the suburbs of Chicago. Um, and by the time he got up to about 5 clinics, at that point in time, I was like, well, I really want to do downtown. So I'm going to go ahead and leave as an associate and I'm going to open up my own downtown Chicago. So me and his name is Dr. George, who also works for Chiro One as well. He and I partnered and went downtown Chicago and created what was called Health for Life. So Health for Life was our own private practice downtown Chicago. The beauty of what we did, we both were running $1 million practices with Dr. Sam. So I'm running $1 million practice. So at this point in time, I know what to do, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so what I did is went and duplicated it. But right at the time I was leaving, he was like, why are you leaving right now? Like, this isn't the time. We're actually about to partner
Yeah.
with our some of the mentors. And those mentors were Stu Burnson, Mark Lagerfest, and Brett Penniger. So they had their own company
Yeah.
called LifeWorks, and they also had about 5 or 6 clinics in Chicago as well. So Sam had the great idea, hey, you know what? I'm going to partner with my mentors and we're going to create Chiro One. So right at the time of the creation of Chiro One, is right at the time that me and Dr. George Walker ended up leaving to create our own practice downtown Chicago.
Right.
So when that happened, me and Dr. George, as we were creating this practice downtown Chicago, Chiro One, in its exception, was being created. This was back in 2006.
Mhm.
And when me and Dr. George created what we created, we ended up being very, very successful. So we took an existing practice that we bought from a guy from 30 to 40 patient visits a week, up to 250 patients a week in a matter of 3 months,
Amazing.
and built a $1 million clinic, right? And right at that time, we said, okay, let's start working on our second clinic and third clinic for Health for Life. And when that happened, we had a chance to work with a gym called Bally's. I don't know if you remember
Right. I
Bally's.
do
Yeah.
know Bally's. Yeah.
So Bally's had asked us to put chiropractic clinics inside of their gyms in Chicago, downtown Chicago. So we created a blueprint of how to and business plan of how to put these chiropractic offices inside of their gyms, their high-end gyms too.
Mhm.
And we said, how can we get this done as fast as possible?
Right.
And what we did is we took the blueprint and our business plan and re-engaged our mentors who are now just formed Chiro One and
Right.
said, hey, we would love to partner with you guys in creating basically Chiro One Metro as fast as possible to
Yeah.
get this done because we already have the blueprint and Bally's wants to work with us to do it. So at that point, we all decided to work together and created another branch of Chiro One called Chiro One Metro. And Dr. George and myself, we did so well in what we created. We were pretty much outpacing what they were doing in their original formation. And
Amazing.
they said, hey, we want you guys to partner with us on everything that we do because you guys
Yeah.
are really, really kicking butt. So that's how it all came together in 2009, where the 10 of us became partners. There's 2 other people that came later, but that's how the original 8 of us came partners from the original 6 founders who actually came up with the inception of Chiro One in 2006.
That's awesome story.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
guys
man.
just like, I mean, 3 years out of chiropractic school, you had to hit the ground running.
Yeah,
Did,
yeah.
was it just based on the education that you got from your mentors that you were able to understand business, or did you have entrepreneurial parents, or like where did that come from?
No, you know what? It really was the mentorship from all of our friends. Yep, it was the mentorship that these 6 gentlemen really instilled in us. So, me and Dr. George been there from the inception, watching as Dr. Stuart Burnson, he had already been out in practice for since '92. So he
Yeah,
already had 10 years of experience, a leg up on all of us, which is why he was the CEO of Chiro One. Once informed, he's like, look, I've been doing this for a long time, so I
yeah,
want to be the CEO of Chiro One. And even now, he's the chairman of the board of Chiro One. So
yeah.
yeah, he's our mentor of mentors. We learned a lot from him, still learning a lot from him to this day. Dr. Sam, all of us, and we all had this like-mindedness. We did a lot of work on ourselves in order to make sure we got the garbage out and the egos out, because everybody, we're all coming in with egos into this partnership. And so we had to do a lot of work on ourselves to get the egos out of the way and get any garbage that you may have in there so we can accomplish what we've accomplished.
Yeah.
It literally is like catching lightning in a bottle for what we've done over the past 20 years.
What would you say one of your guys' biggest struggle, or maybe with yourself or with other people that they faced coming together with the egos? Like, what is that? I mean, people. I just want to say we have a bunch of students that, at least in my class, I know you can see everybody's networking with each other, and you can see that they want to build something. So, how can we understand things that are within ourselves that may be a barrier to connecting with somebody could help propel us to the future?
Yeah. Good question. So the two programs that really has helped me the most, one was called Landmark Forum. So what the Landmark Forum did is it really lets you see how you're showing up in the world, right? Even if you're late to something, that's how you're showing up in the world. And that's actually saying to another person, your time is not as valuable as my time. And I don't value your time by just showing up late, right? So understanding that part alone was huge. And then understanding the excuses that we all have and that we will come up with of why we won't get something done, the execution of something. And that's what this program kind of helps you see, that how you're showing up can affect your execution, and it could affect the possibilities that you can create in the world. And so that's called Landmark Forum. So that's the basis of it, right? And then another one that we really, really did all the programs in is DeMartini. I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. John DeMartini, but
I've
Dr.
heard that name before.
Yeah, so Dr. John DeMartini was a chiropractor who became such a huge chiropractor in his practice in Houston by using behavioral science along with what he knew from the chiropractic side of things. Became really, really big, where he said, you know what? This is so big and I'm outgrowing my practice to a point where he's now probably one of the world's foremost behavioral specialists in understanding human behavior. So we've done a lot of his programs. One of the big ones is called the Breakthrough Experience. And what that is showing you is how do you break through the invisible wall of yourself that's there that you don't even know is there. Uh, we all come with some level of baggage in our lives that's keeping us where we are, these blinders, if you would. And so, if you're willing to see the blinders that's keeping you where you are, then you'll continue to break through that blinder and go through the next phase. So we all have done these programs in order to break through whatever blinders that we have so we can come together. We already knew we had the common bond of chiropractic and what we wanted to accomplish within chiropractic. So we all have that as our foundation and we really hold on to it. But now let's look at the blinders that may keep you from going to this next phase that we're trying to get to. So that's kind of how we all came together and made sure that we did these programs in order to have this way of communicating, if you would, too, with each other. We can always call each other out on different things and not take it personal because we've done the work and understand it's not personal. It's all not even just business, but about you going to the next level that's going to help humanity.
So, would you say that your guys is not? I mean, you've had many years to be with each other. So, as you said, you've ironed out all the creases. What is it that you guys are looking to do with Chiro One? What is like the big scale vision? Do you have like a 5-year, 10-year plan? Like what's the big idea here?
Yeah, the big idea is, with chiropractic, um, we really took a bird's eye view and looked at the whole musculoskeletal conditions landscape and see where chiropractic fit in there. And where we're playing, you're talking about a $80 billion industry. When I say musculoskeletal conditions, that is a industry that's been created, right? Unfortunately, that's somewhere, that's nothing that nobody needs to be proud of. That's just what it is, because you have a lot of people who are sick, suffering, and dying from musculoskeletal conditions, right? So that's an $80 billion market. If you think about it, how much of that $80 billion does chiropractic fit into there? Probably less than 1%,
Yeah.
right?
Well, yeah, I
So
guess
simple,
so.
yeah.
Yeah.
So not in less than 1%. And even when you look at, and so that means you got to look at orthopedic surgeons, you got to look at PT, everything that fits into there, right? And what we wanted to do is say, okay, how do we make a dent in that for humanity? So the first stage was what we did in Illinois, right? We know we're making a major impact in Illinois alone just because we got 50 clinics that give patients access to get to in that market. So then we start to branch out from there. But the major goal was that all human beings reach their full potential. So that is our vision, is that all human beings reach our full potential.
Mm.
That's a big vision, right? There's 8.5 billion people on the planet. So
Yeah.
when I say we got room to grow, we got room to grow. When we look at a 10-year plan, there's two things we want to look at. It's either going to be 1,000 clinics or $1 billion in value, in that time frame. Why is that important to be valued at $1 billion or more?
I mean, a public company potentially.
Not even public, just having that level of value. I didn't hear you. What'd you say?
Oh no, I didn't say anything. Yeah, yeah. No, just having that level of value is what's the last thing you said. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think there may be a little delay, but um, the reason why you want to create that level of value is because now you're creating power and a different power dynamics for chiropractic,
Mm.
right? So when we want to have that level of seat at the table to speak for chiropractic globally. That's kind of what we're up to, right? So you
Okay.
got these stair steps, and that's why in the next 10 years, 1,000 clinics or $1 billion in value.
Right. So then that would be 1,000 $1 million clinics.
Yeah.
Right. And then what do you, I was thinking about this as you're talking about it. Do you know what the chiropractic industry does as an industry? Like, what is the value of the chiropractic industry currently?
Less than a billion.
It's less
Yeah.
than $1 billion.
Yeah, less than $1 billion. Yeah. And
That's,
and the thing, and that's what all of us, including
I mean,
for the
everybody. Yeah.
joint, yeah, that's everybody. It's less than $1 billion at this point.
Huh.
So we got a lot of work to do as an industry,
Oh,
right?
absolutely. I mean,
A lot
hey,
of
there's
work to
only
do as an
like
industry.
90% of the American population aren't under chiropractic care. I mean, it's a
Right.
pretty massive opportunity considering that everybody's got a spine and nervous system.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
That's right.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. All
Yep.
right. So how long is like the process? Like, let's say for some of the students that will be watching this, from graduation, you guys have an onboarding process, and your residency is I think you called it like adjacent kind of residency. How long is the process to where maybe they go from an associate? Do they run a clinic? Like, what does that look like for somebody?
Good question. So, let's look at this from a super real world perspective, right? I had a student, and I'm not gonna say her name, but she just graduated from Life in March. She did her preceptorship with us the last 2 quarters. And during that preceptorship, she's got to learn everything. Of course, she's got to adjust. She's taking she's doing everything, new patient exams, everything possible. By the time she graduated, we've already offered her a position to come in as you're either going to come in as a travel associate. She no longer has to do the residency program because she's already did it for the past 6 months,
Mm-hmm.
right? She got offered a position, and now she's an associate director in one of our clinics right out of school.
Hmm.
So that's how it can look from the preceptorship. And I got two more interns that's coming with us who want to do their last 2 quarters with us here in Chicago. Um, but let's say you didn't do that. Let's say you didn't precept with us at all. You graduate, but you want to practice and you saw us somewhere, one of our ads or anything, and you want to come and practice with us. What'll happen is you'll go from our residency program, which is really a month, right? So we have part of it is a month. So it's 4 weeks of training here in Chicago with us, going through every single thing of the nuts and bolts of how to run a practice from the front of the house to the back of the house. Now, it's going to take us more than a month to really get you up to speed, but that first initial 4 weeks, we do that in Chicago at our training facility here in Oak Brook, Illinois. Once you graduate from that, that's when you go into the travel associate program. The travel associate program, you could be in that position from 6 to 9 months.
Hmm.
As you're in there, you're learning what it's like to build a practice, to maintain a practice. You're just learning. There's so much to learn.
Totally.
So, and then from there, if there's any availability in any of the clinics, right? You may say, you know what, I want to go practice in Washington. And if we have availability in Washington, then you would go into Washington. We'll know all of this beforehand anyway. If you want to go to Washington, we'll hire you for our Washington market.
Hmm.
But once you go into that market, you're either going to be a clinic director or associate director. And you'll be in that role. That role, now from the time you start to 2 years, I'm say that that's our contract. It's a 2 year contract. So all of that happens within that 2 years. And then after the 2 years, it's either you're going to just renew the contract, it automatically renews, or you say, you know what, I want to go open up in Utah. Thanks, you guys were great. I learned a lot, made money. I'm gonna go open up. Okay. Then so that's what it is. It's 2 years. And believe it or not, that 2 years go by so fast
Oh,
because
yeah.
because the career path that's been created is training, which is the residency, travel associate role, which could be for anywhere from 6 to 9 months, depending on what
Mhm.
our needs are, and depending on how well you're picking up what we're doing. And
Yeah.
then either associate director or clinic director, which that can be ongoing. That part is going to be up to you. But the contract, the way we have it written, is 2 years. And that goes just like that. That's why the average person has been with us for 9 years.
Oh, I was just gonna about to ask that. Okay, so you guys have a pretty good follow through rate with people who love to be in a part of your system.
Yeah.
What about like chiropractors who have been practicing? Maybe they've. Do you guys basically focus primarily on students coming in, or do you guys? I mean, maybe you have a smaller percentage of doctors who have been practicing a little while that come onto your team. Like, how does that work?
Same way. So right now we're about a 50-50.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, it's about 50-50. 50 in how we classify, we say new grads, right? So we classify new grads, anybody who's been out from 1 to 2 years. So that's a new grad to us. And then
Yeah.
anybody who's been out 3+ year, we say an experienced doc.
Hmm.
But yeah, right now we're 50-50. So the way our system has been designed is to be able to fit both of them coming in.
Okay. And so then is there a particular like I mean just somebody who's willing, an experienced doctor who's like how are they typically finding you guys? You guys are out at different seminars or chiropractic seminars. Like how are the doctors finding you guys and why are they picking you?
Yeah, so just like anything else, you know we've gotten really good at recruiting.
Mm.
And you can recruit from different avenues. Indeed, I know a lot of students and existing docs, they understand that's the job market. So that would be your
Okay.
job place, which would be Indeed at this point. So a lot of them find us through Indeed. Obviously, we do a lot with the schools, whether it's career fairs. We have classified ads in literally every school, right? I'm a peak provider for life, and then I have like at least another 4 or 5 of my docs who are peak providers for life. and we do that with other schools as well. So we got different channels, and our tentacles are pretty much everywhere. That's how people usually find us. And what we're looking for, again, I'm very philosophically bound, but that's not the only thing. We're kind of in the middle with Chiro One because we know how to do so much, but we also know how to streamline for business as well. So we're looking for someone who wants to be efficient, who wants to learn, who wants to grow, who wants to be a leader, right?
Yeah.
So that's a big deal in our world because you have to want to lead patients. That's where we're growing. We're growing people who want to lead
Mhm.
patients. If you don't want to lead patients, if you don't want to grow, then yeah, we wouldn't be for you. If you don't like metrics, if you don't like performance and goals, then we wouldn't be a good fit for you.
For sure. For sure. So do you guys have like what is the growth potential then for a doctor coming on board with you guys? What is like the cap that you're seeing right now? Maybe you have like a top 10 doctors, like what are they doing and why are they different?
Yeah, so like again, when we look at a profile doc, that person has to really want to grow. They do have to be financially motivated, really want to see patients get well, but they got to really want to grow. It'd be the same if you were to open up your practice. If you open up your practice and you're not willing to lead, and it's like, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna go to the beach today, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
cancel the patient visits today, then you're not gonna grow. So you got to be really ready to grind, right? My first 10 years out of school, I was in grind mode. I was going after it. I'm like, I want to see 300-400 patient visits a week. We in grind mode, right?
Mhm.
I'm trying to get after it. If that's not, and again, to me, I'm like, damn, I'm from the old school now. That's not the way to do it anymore. But that's the only thing I know is
Yeah.
is we got to get after. So that's what I'm looking for, people who want to get after. Our average doctor makes about $120,000 a year. The highest paid doctors make between 6 and 700,000, so they're up there with what a surgeon would make. We want all of our doctors there, so we really don't have a cap in how much you can make. You gotta be willing to grind, though. You gotta
For
be
sure.
willing to, yeah, but there's no cap. The way we've built our systems and the way we've built our bonus comp plans, we really don't have a cap on how much a doctor can make.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So your opportunities there, and then all the
Mhm.
managerial stuff. Essentially, what is the life of the doctor who's up past that 500,000 mark of income? Like, what does their day to day look like that may be different from, your guys' average $120,000 a year doctor?
You have to be efficient. You have to have a certain level of efficiency. You have to have a certain level of managerial and delegation skills, which we will teach you that, but you got to be willing to want to grow to that
Mm,
point. But
mm.
their lives are no different. Yeah, they're busy, but they have a life, and then at a certain point they can hire in associate clinic directors. That's where that associate clinic director part comes into play.
Okay. Okay. So
Yeah.
so they're seeing high volume. I'm trying to conceptualize in my mind, like, what is the difference between the two practices where you have a doctor who's I'm sure in $1 million practice is the guy who's bringing in, those bigger numbers. Are they seeing it $3-4 million practice? And what is it, more patient visits, or how is that working?
All of the above. There's more patient visits, different services. Obviously, there's different markets
Mm,
and what we're seeing. So, we're gonna look at bringing in other services as well to help with
okay.
certain things. But it really is gonna come down to, and this is anybody's clinic, right? Even
Mhm.
even your own, if you open up your own, dollars per visit and PVs. Which one of those levers are you gonna push more, right?
Right.
If and you can look at it this way, you say, "Oh, you know what? I'm gonna charge $50 a visit, right? And I wanna collect $100,000 a month." Right? So which would
Right.
be a $1.2 million clinic. So when you
True.
look at that, when you back into the $100,000 a month at $50 a visit, then you gotta back into how many PVs you need to see in
Right.
order
It's
to
a lot.
accomplish that. Right. And
Right.
if you say, you know what, that's a heck of a lot, then you
Yeah.
say, okay, what do I need to do to increase the dollar per visit?
Right.
So that way I won't have to see as many people to get to the $100 a visit. So
Right.
those are the levers, and then all the things and stuff that lead up to those levers. But those are going to be your main two levers you're going to be looking at to see which one do I pull more or less of.
Right.
And that'll happen with each of our clinics. And then depending on the market, you may have more insurance base or more cash base. But at the end of the day, if you want to collect $100,000 a month, you got to look at which lever you're going to push to get there.
Right. Right.
And I'm using 100,000 because that's just clean
That's
numbers,
easy
easy
math.
math.
It's easy
Yeah,
math. It's
easy math.
250 visits a week, right?
Right.
I
Yep.
mean, that's I mean that's a great that's a moving practice, you
Right.
know.
Yep.
Practice is moving. Yeah.
And then from there, once you figure that out, then you figure out, okay, how do I do it efficiently?
Right.
You decided $50 is that's the number I'm going for, I'm comfortable with, and I got to see 250 PVs a week or whatever the number is. How do I do that? Right? What's the efficiency level that I need to create this practice to do it? Am I just doing adjustments only and charging $50? Those are the decisions that have to be made per practice. We average about 40 to 60 PVs a day at a company average is about $100 a visit. Company
Okay.
average. You see what I mean?
Yeah, that's pretty good. So you guys
Yeah.
are having more. So the higher visits, you guys are probably focusing on more spinal correction rather than just like adjusting. People are doing more modalities or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, we do all active care. So what we do is we have patients once they get adjusted, they go right into active care. So we do a lot of low tech active care, rehab based exercises in the clinic, right then and there. And those are billable services as well.
Nice.
Yep.
Right. Well,
Yes.
hey, I think that I'd love it if you'd be open to it to take a pivot and learn a little bit more about Dr. Tony DeNeal. I
Oh,
mean, we talked
sure.
about Chiro One so much. I mean, it's a pretty good deal. It sounds like to me,
Yeah.
it's a great opportunity that you guys are creating. But like, what's your chiropractic story, Dr. DeNeal? How did you find it?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I tell it a lot. I mean, it's so funny that just even telling my story is crazy. So back when I was in high school, this senior year in high school, I had a friend who had a brain aneurysm,
Mm.
and he didn't die, but he was paralyzed on the right side of his body. He was an All-American soccer player. I think that's one of the reasons why he didn't die. All-American soccer player. They got him to hospital, very quickly, controlled the brain bleed, and that's what saved his life. But again, paralyzed on the right side of his body, couldn't speak. I would go visit him at Northwestern Hospital here in Chicago, and every day I would go visit him, I'm noticing how he's actually regaining some function. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. How's he regaining some function? And come to find out, he was working with a neurotrauma physical therapist. So that's what I sought out to do. Is I sought out to be a neurotrauma physical therapist. Undergrad, while I was in Georgia, I went to Georgia State, so I was in Atlanta.
Mm.
Back in the day, from
Yeah, yeah,
92, yeah, from 92 to about 96, I was in Atlanta, doing my prereqs, and was about to go to Georgia State, ended up getting into a car accident. And when I got into this car accident, didn't feel hurt at all. So I didn't feel hurt. It was me and my girlfriend at the time, who's my wife now.
right.
And we ended up, someone said, look, dude, you may want to go to a Chiro. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. I don't need to go to
Yeah,
a
yeah,
Chiro.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And, next day he was like, well, you may have some whiplash injuries. I'm like, okay, I'm good. Next day we're super sore. We're like, oh man, what's going on here? Yeah. And so
Yeah,
we look at each other and we said, you know what, let's go check out this Chiro just to see. So
yeah,
then we go, and I can't even remember Doc's name at this point, but he was in Atlanta, and he was an African American Chiro, you know, real debonair. So I'm just like, okay, whoever this guy is, he looks pretty cool,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know. He educated us on what chiropractic was, not to the level we do, but he at least educated us of what chiropractic was.
Right.
Talked about the three T's, and then he was like, did you know you had scoliosis in your spine? Because he took X-rays of me. I said, no, I had no idea. Never even seen my spine before, right? Like most people.
Yeah,
Even though I'm going into some form of healthcare, I never seen my spine.
yeah,
So he took X-rays of me, He said, "Yeah, you got a little bit of scoliosis. How do you think that happened?" I said, "I have no idea. The only thing I can think of, because I didn't play a lot of contact sports or anything, only thing I can think of is that my parents told me I fell down a flight of stairs trying to ride a big wheel down a flight of stairs when I was like 3 or 4 years old. I'm like,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah, yeah.
maybe that could have caused a shift." Um, and he said, "You know what? I tell you what, let me adjust you." And once he adjusted me, it just changed my world, man. I swear. And you hear these stories all the time, but to physically feel that myself,
Yeah.
I was just like, I got up, I'm like, man, obviously range of motion, that stuff is good, but that
Yeah, yeah.
soreness went down. But then I was like, why do I feel like I can see better? And I took a
Yeah,
deep
right.
breath in. Yeah, it changed me. And right then and there, it was like a eureka moment. I was just like, I want to do that.
Yeah,
I w
yeah, yeah,
I want
yeah.
people to feel that. And you know what was
Yeah.
really going on in my mind? If I was a drug dealer, this is gonna be my drug.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
telling you,
yeah.
that's what was going on in my mind. And literally, that has been my drug. I said, "I'll be the biggest drug dealer in the world. This is my drug," right?
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
that was my approach. That was my why, man. I was like, "I'm doing it." And my
Yeah.
wife was like, "You're doing what?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be a
Yeah, yeah.
chiropractor." Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. That's funny.
yeah.
That's
And
awesome,
so,
brother.
yeah. And from there, the only reason why I didn't go to life is because I wanted to be close to home with my family, right? So being from Chicago, I said, you know what? I want to go be closer to family. So I was actually going to go to national. Uh, already had was already enrolled, was about to literally go to national when I was at this party. It was a mutual friends party, and I was at this party, and the host was saying, "Hey, you're talking about chiropractic in one room. There's another guy that I know talking about chiropractic in another room. I'm gonna have you guys meet so y'all can talk about it because y'all talking about the same thing in two different rooms."
Yeah,
So
yeah.
me and this guy meet, and he was a student at Palmer. And he was like, "Look, I tell you what, before you start at National, man, come down to the Fountainhead and see where chiropractic was started. So you can see the difference before you go to National." And
Yeah.
when I went down there, I was just like, wow, I was blown away. I was like, this is where I need to be. This is where chiropractic started. This is where I need to be. And I made the switch. And that's why I went to Palmer. And, in middle of nowhere in Iowa. And think about this. I'm going from Atlanta. Think about
Yeah.
everything that's going on in
Yeah,
Atlanta
yeah,
to the cornfields of Iowa. And I'm just like, that's a perfect place I need to be. I don't need to be in Atlanta. Too much distraction.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So I
especially
go.
back in the day too. Especially back in the
Oh
day.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Hear all kinds of stories about Buckhead and all these things.
Oh yeah, it was crazy. We had a great time in Atlanta, and I left right after the Olympics, so
Oh
had
yeah.
a blast. But soon as I get to Iowa, I'm surrounded with all of these other people that I'm like, oh my God, I'm thinking I'm in the cornfields. This is crazy down here. Had
Yeah,
a
yeah.
blast. I mean, we had a blast. It was chiropractic study and partying together, and we had a blast. Yeah,
That's so cool.
yeah.
That's so
So that's
cool.
how.
So, go ahead.
No, no, no. I said that's how I ended up going to Palmer. And then something I wish you guys all had the experience of doing. I know you can do it outside of school, but I wish you could do it part of school. And that is doing some type of clinic abroad. So I did clinic abroad and went to India.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, so when I did that, we spent 3 weeks in India and probably adjusted about 2,000 people between, it was like 20 of us that went. And that was phenomenal. The experience was phenomenal.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah. And if you get that chance, Chiro Mission, I'm familiar. There's two different Chiro missions. There's one, her name is Dr. Alda Tolver, and I think she's a life grad. She has a Chiro mission that she's the president of, and that's a really good one. I've done hers, and I know there's another one by Dr. Morgan. So I know there's
Yeah.
two different Chiro missions.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. So then, so then, what did you see in India? I mean, you always hear incredible experiences, or I do, of people going to, like, I don't know if the part of India you were at was a third world place, but some of them are and some of them aren't. But in these places where, like, you go to Fiji, you go to these Dominican Republic or Haiti, and all the sickest people are coming, and it's always the most incredible experience for the people that I've talked to, because these people are healing from these incredible diseases that, you know, not many chiropractors in America are seeing in the same way that maybe a medical doctor would be. But you know, people understand that we heal each other, and their body has capability to heal, and they're coming. So I'm curious to know, what was your experience like in India, and why was it so impactful for you?
Yeah, it's funny because it's everything, all the above that you just named, right? When we get there, first of all, you're having a culture shock immediately when you get off the plane. And again, this was 20 years ago. So you're going into a underdeveloped world when we coming from a developed world. So
Yeah,
you're immediately thrust into a culture shock and there's no turning back. You're in it.
yeah,
So right then and there, everybody was there's a different level of heightened sensitivity and awareness that happens. And we were staying in Dubai. I'm not Dubai, and yeah, no. I'm thinking of somewhere else. Mumbai. That's what I was gonna say, which was
yeah.
Bombay at the time, and then they changed it to Mumbai. We were part of seeing the changes that was happening, so it was really third world when we went. Um, so we would stay there, but we were going to south of Mumbai to a place called Hyderabad. Hyderabad was very poor, and people were coming from miles and miles away to get treated for all kind of things. You see, every digestive issue possible you could see there.
Mm.
The biggest thing that I saw was elephantitis. That was crazy to see. Um, just seeing someone with a foot as big as a table. It's just crazy. You're like, what? What is this?
Yeah.
And again, they were walking miles and miles to see just a doctor, period. And just the one adjustment will help. Some of them was coming back day in and day out, so you can see improvement. Some of them were just coming for the day just to get a little taste of what you can do for them. And that changed every single one of us, no doubt. You were seeing kids, seeing anybody, because it was lines of people just coming. When they heard that we were gonna be there, and what happened, our toxicology teacher, he was a diplomat, a humanitarian diplomat for India. So he set this up. We had a chance to meet the prime minister and everything. He was like, "Thank you guys for coming and just helping, that community." That's just one community. Remember, even at
Yeah,
that point in time, they were close to 900 million people at that time. And I think they're well over a billion people at this point.
yeah,
Um, so just helping just that small segment of their population, they just was very appreciative of, and they had this big dinner for us. And that changes. That grew us up as these student doctors because yeah, we had our staff doctors, but they only could oversee you for so much. So they was like, man, try to help you. You guys been trained. Help them as much as you can. That's what we're
yeah,
here to do.
yeah,
You know, that's what you're here to do. So we use all of the tools. You only got so much that you're diagnosing, but it's hands on. Do what you can do to help them, adjust them. We all, we had an activator, but it was these, man. We were using these
yeah,
to
yeah,
help them as
yeah.
much as we can.
Amazing. That's so
Yeah.
cool.
That's why I want students to have that because that's what's missing when I see students when they come out of school and I'm hearing, well, I have and I had never heard this before. What is it called? Imposter syndrome. I had no idea what that was. I'm like, what the hell is that?
Yeah,
It was always back in my day, fake it till you make it.
yeah, right, exactly. Like, yeah, yeah, exactly. Totally. Yeah, that's yep.
And what happens is because when you come out of school, you haven't had enough experience. But when you do something like that, go to a third world country, you're gonna get the experience because it's like, no, put your hands on people, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Who you might hurt them, who knows? But you're gonna help them more than you hurt them. You gotta
Right,
do something, right?
right,
And it's the
right.
same in practice. Nope. Go into the deep end. Go,
Yeah,
you gotta do something.
yeah,
You
yeah,
went to school for all of this, you know it. Do something.
yeah. Totally, totally
Yeah.
true. I love it. That's amazing. Well, I want to be respectful of your time. I know you said that you had to go. Do you
Yeah,
have
no, I appreciate this, man. Any other questions that you have?
Oh man, well we can go for a long time. But,
Yeah, sure.
I'm just trying to be respectful of you. Maybe we need to get a part 2 in there, and
Yeah.
I'd love to hear more about your personal story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and like I said, I gave you part of my personal story with just chiropractic, right?
Right.
Um, but just where I come from is humble beginnings, like a lot of people. And I take this part for granted. I'm the first to graduate from college, undergrad, having a bachelor's degree, and for sure the first in my family to be a doctor.
Yeah.
Uh, and again, and what that has done to other members of my family is show what's possible, right?
Absolutely.
And even now, my daughter, she's a freshman in college, just finished her freshman year in college, and she's doing Asian studies. She speaks Mandarin, write Mandarin, read Mandarin, and about to go to China in 10 days to do study abroad.
Amazing.
So she's taking what I've done by pushing the envelope in my family. She's pushing it even further already. We went to China 2 years ago with her high school teacher who wanted to take the class. And that was great experience. We went
That's
from
cool.
Beijing to Shanghai, but for her to come and say that she want to study abroad, we're not going with her. Like she's doing all of this on her own at 19. I'm just like, wow, this is fantastic. That's
Yeah.
the first part. And then she's pairing that with law. So now she will be our first lawyer in our family,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm up to is trying to continue to create this legacy and build the future. Like I love chiropractic and then I sleep great at night because I know how much good we're doing for humanity, even at the small scale that we're doing it, and know there's so much more growth to go. But that's what it's about for me,
Yeah. Yeah.
is I found this vehicle called chiropractic, and to me, I just think it's the world's greatest thing that can help people,
Yeah.
live out their dreams. And my kids have been under care since birth. They're very healthy kids, and I wouldn't have been able to do any of that if it wasn't for chiropractic and living a chiropractic lifestyle and understanding myself and doing these personal development courses and learning business. It's all stemming from the fact that I decided to be a chiropractor.
Yeah, I'm right. Well, hey, I mean, it's one of the greatest professions ever. I mean, it's cool, and
Hmm.
I love that right now we're in a world where, it's people are searching for a new alternative to their healthcare, and like you said, and like your guys' company sees this vision where, you know, you have this opportunity to expand with 90 there's I mean there's 90% of the people in just this country who are potential clients, you know what I
Right.
mean, and not in the
Yeah.
sense where they're a PV or a dollar per visit.
Right.
These are humans in
That's
the
right.
same way that you just spoke about yourself. I mean, without chiropractic your daughter wouldn't be going to China, and it's cool to understand that this is the opportunity that we have as chiropractors to bring to the world, and that's the whole philosophy of chiropractic. Like
That's right.
this is how we break generational patterns. That's incredible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And there's unfortunately there's forces that's against you to make that happen
Yeah.
because we've been growing up in these systems that has been created for that same reason to keep you from understanding this and discovering your full potential.
Absolutely. Well, this is why, hey, the point of this podcast is unity. There's a lot of different ways to be a chiropractor, and in some ways work better for some people and other ways work better for others,
Yep.
but the point is that we have an opportunity to really unite as an industry and really make an impact on the world, because that's what, hey, we got some chiropractors in the Maha movement now. We're going, chiropractic is going in the government. I mean, it's incredible. Right now is the best time to be a chiropractor. So if there's any of the public or students out there questioning if this is the good thing or not, like, don't leave. If you're a chiropractor and you're thinking to yourself, man, I've been in the game too long, I don't know what's going to happen, like, don't give up, guys. This is the best time in the world to be a chiropractor, especially with Dr. Tony DeNeal and Chiro One making it happen for everybody to make it easy, so you don't have to, so many chiropractors fail in business because they don't have a system like
That's
you
right.
guys are creating. So you guys have a mission that is so beneficial to our industry and the
Yeah.
public. So thank you so much
Oh
for
yeah. Thank you.
tell us.
Thank you for allowing me to, voice that, using your platform to let people know. And if they, have any questions or want to talk or any of that, then yeah, absolutely. You can give them my email and we can chat. No problem.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Very cool. So if there's students, yeah, they can get your email. Is there anything that you want to plug in right here at the end? I know you got to get going, but how can the students reach out to you? You said your email, but what else do you guys got going? What do you want to plug in?
Oh man, well, we got so much going on, but I would say the best thing will be to go to our website, to go to our Facebook page. You'll see us everywhere. I would say go to Chiro1.com. Let's start there because that will springboard you everywhere you would need to know. That obviously is very patient facing, but you at least see what we're up to from the patient side, and we have our career sites on there, and so everything springboards from our website. So go to Chiro1.com. And like I said, my email is anthony.deneal at medullallc.com. So Medulla is our parent company. If you think about medulla oblongata, that's what it
Yeah.
is.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, brother. Well,
All
thank you
right.
so much for the day. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll get you on another one sometime in the future.
Sounds good, man. Thanks again, Dalton. Appreciate you having me on.
No worries. All right.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
Bye bye.